And welcome to the Allen Americans podcast. Tommy Daniels here, joined by Josh Lammon or Joshua. What do you prefer me to? Because I know we talked early in the year when I first met you, and you go by Joshua, right? But
Yeah, I mean,
the guys call you
professional,
Josh.
yeah, professional settings, I like it to be like Joshua,
Yep,
especially when it's like written down and things like that. But
absolutely.
day by day, I go by Josh. But I mean, my teammates never really call me by my first name. It's usually Lambs or
Yep,
Lammon or
yep.
whatever. So,
Well,
but yeah, Josh is perfectly acceptable.
and for from this day forward, you will be known as one half of the Mercyhurst Connection, of course, with your good buddy Les Lancaster. You two
Yeah.
guys are inseparable. I mean, tell everybody. I mean, I know your history going back to Mercyhurst, but tell everybody how far you guys go back in your hockey lives.
Yeah, I think I know you had Les on the podcast like a month or two ago, and
Yeah.
he kind of filled you in. But we started playing together our senior year of high school, so 2012, late 2012, 2013. Played for Victory Honda, AAA together, and we both actually committed to Mercyhurst during that season, which was kind of cool. Our head coach at the time used to be the assistant coach at Mercyhurst, so we kind of had our little connection there. I guess that's what sparked
Yeah.
the Mercyhurst connection to begin with. And then a few weeks later, we actually had a scout for the Springfield Junior Blues in the North American Hockey League reach out to us, and he offered a tender to both of us. And I don't know, we still don't remember who accepted which first, who committed to Mercyhurst first and who went to Springfield first, but one of us must have followed the other. And so yeah, we went to Springfield the next 2 years after that, playing North American Hockey League, which is great. We were roommates there and had awesome billet family. So that's when we kind of became inseparable. And then, as you know, we both went to Mercyhurst for our first 3 years, and then Les transferred during our senior year to Denver. I finished at Mercyhurst. And then at the end of my senior year, I went to finish the season with Florida in the East Coast Hockey League with the Everblades, and played a few games there and reported there last fall. But it's a pretty deep roster. I saw they had a lot of guys sent down from their affiliate in the American League. So I was kind of talking to Les, one of our buddies from Mercyhurst, I don't know, this could be interesting here in the next couple of days. And Les was just saying how, Allen he could always talk to Allen's coach, Marty, about me and see where that goes. And we were just kind of joking around about it. And that next morning, I got a text, came into the office, and my coach told me I was traded to Allen Americans. And I kind of giggled inside, obviously not. And at the time, it was kind of trading's a humbling experience, but it was kind of funny that we had just talked about it last night, and ended up getting traded to Allen. And then Les's roommate and Allen actually got traded to a different team almost simultaneously. So it kind of opened up a bedroom where Les was staying, and him and I became roommates again. So it was a really small world, but it was cool to have familiar face, especially coming into a new season and things like that, being traded, to have Les there, and it was a great season with him.
Well, and you had what an incredible rookie year you had in 54 games last year, because you only played 9 with Florida and then 54 with Allen, 27 points for you. But the second half of the year is when you really turn it on. And I think about your highlight goal that we had up there not too long, maybe a week or so ago, your game winner in overtime in Tulsa, which was kind of the Lamb signature goal for the year, right? That was one of the biggest ones all season for us because we needed that win badly.
Yeah, it was a frustrating start to the year. Personally, obviously our team was doing well. It's always great to be on a winning team. That helps a lot. But, as you know, we had a great team and a lot of depth. So, being a rookie, it's kind of tough to crack a lineup like that with a lot of skilled forwards up front. But I think he's kind of sticking with the process. I was getting some opportunities in the beginning of the year, and just things weren't clicking in terms of productivity. I felt like I was still playing good hockey, just, not getting the points, which can be frustrating. But just kind of sticking with it. I think I kind of built Marty's trust a little bit throughout the year, just kind of working on the defensive side of the game and playing a two-way game. So I started getting more ice time through that. And then, after Christmas break, things seemed to start clicking. Every game I seemed to be able to, get a point, help the team offensively, contribute by putting the puck in the net. But yeah, that goal in Tulsa was great. As interesting game, low scoring game. And we always had tough games against that team, especially in Tulsa.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
it's a pretty big game. We needed to win, kind of make a statement. And, I was just happy to have the opportunity to be out there in overtime and, put the puck in the net. So.
Well, I remember as you talked about your defensive game, how good you and Topping were together on that penalty killing unit. And it seemed like I was always, calling your names, clearing that puck out of the zone. And, some guys, everybody wants to be on the power play, but I remember you like that. I mean, you like being a part of that PK unit, and it's a big part of the game. You can only have so many scores. You got to have guys that can get out there and use their speed and their skill to also clear that puck out on the PK. And you were an expert at that. I mean, how much do you take pride in that? And has that been your role over your career?
Yeah, I think at every level that I've moved up, it's become a bigger part of my role. I've always, growing up, played a 200-foot game, I think. Just kind of taking pride at both ends of the ice. It's the way I've always approached the game. And like, as you said, you move up the ranks to juniors, to college, to pro, the goal scorers become that much better at goal scoring, and not everyone, has the offensive skill set to do that.
Yeah.
I think I still take pride in being able to put the puck in the net. So I like to say more of a two-way forward versus just strictly defensive forward. But yeah, I take pride in the penalty kill. It's something that I've always been on throughout my career as a penalty killer. And I think there's just that sense of pride, like you said, of, it's almost like scoring a goal. You block a big shot on a penalty kill and the boys get fired up. And I think most teammates respect that, more than scoring goals sometimes, being able to lay the body out and sacrifice to, block a shot or kill a penalty off. So.
Well, and the one thing you showed especially in that second half of the year is your offensive game too. And nobody will deny your speed, and I think that's one of the big strengths of your game. And, you said, hey, one of these days they're going to start going in, and sure enough, second half of the year they did. And sometimes it just goes that way. For whatever reason, you're putting those great shots on net, and they're just not finding a hole somewhere or the back of the net. But if you're patient, and the one thing I loved about you, Lambs, is you're the same guy whether you're scoring or not, and you always know what you're going to get from you game in and game out, and I think that's important. And I think that was basically one of the big keys to our team is, we didn't have guys taking shifts off, and if you want to look at why we had success this year as opposed to the year before. We had guys that came to play every night, and you're not going to win every game. And there are going to be some nights when you're off and you're going to need your goaltender to steal you a game. And we had that last year too. But our defensive unit, including your buddy Les, I think that may have been the best group as a whole we've ever had in Allen.
Yeah, we had a great team. Like you said, offensively, we had tons of goal scorers, guys that could put the puck in the net. Defensively, we had great defensemen who not only were good at defense, but we had a lot of offensive defensemen, as most of the fans know last year, which is great and helps, our offensive productivity. And like you said, our goaltending was great all year long. They won a lot of games for us. We were obviously an offensive team, and sometimes that results in sacrificing some defense, but our goaltenders always had our back. And yeah, like you said, we just had a team, I think, last year that bought in. We had a great group of guys on the ice and off the ice that we all got along. And in pro hockey, it's kind of interesting where there's so many moving pieces and faces that come in every day, every week. But it seemed like it's just kind of like that next man up mentality that whoever, Marty threw out on the ice or put in the lineup, he just kind of found a way to get the job done and had that sense of confidence rolling through the season. It
was one of the most, I guess, the word I'm looking for here, refreshing after what we went through the last 3 years previous. And disappointment of not making the playoffs the one year. And if you look at this group of guys and you look how much they cared for each other, and it was very obvious because even on the road, these guys were hanging out together. And I know at times over the last few years, it seemed like we just didn't have that chemistry in the locker room like we had last season. And I know Marty said he was going to make changes and get the right group of guys in here, and boy, did he, because they had a lot of fun on and off the ice, and you could tell that they were always playing for each other. if you could describe this team in 5 to 10 words, how would you describe this group to our fan base? Or if you're writing a book about this team, how would you describe the 2019-2020 version of the Allen Americans?
That's a good question. It was sort of like a motley crew of different individuals and different faces that, just came together and kind of bought in for each other. I think, like you said, we all played for each other every day. Guys sticking up for each other, whether it's through a fight or, sticking up for a guy on the ice or even off the ice. Like you said, guys hung out. And pro hockey, you have a lot of downtime, which is different from like guys who played college like myself, or you're always in the classroom if you're not at the rink and things like that. So there's a lot of time to kill. And I think, this group of guys did a great job of, doing team events and getting us together and just hanging out as a team. I think that's something that all great teams, no matter what the sport, have in common is you have to have that sense of camaraderie and play for each other, not just to win. And I think that's how the wins kind of result, is by buying in and playing for each other. So
is there a feeling of emptiness just simply because we, I truly believe, and I was a part of 4 championships here, lucky enough to be a part and travel with these guys, but this team had it. And once you're around teams, if they have it or they don't. And this group definitely seemed like they had it. Is there a feeling of emptiness knowing that there could have been a long, special playoff run ahead for this team, this past team?
Yeah, it was definitely a disappointing way to end the season. It kind of came abruptly when we were flying to Salt Lake City for that series up there. The season just came kind of crashing down, which is disappointing. Because like you said, we had it. I think had that swagger of we knew how to win games. We had a good group of veterans who've done it before, won championships in various age levels, and refreshing youth. We had a pretty good group of rookies too, I think. So we had the complete package. I think great goaltending, like you mentioned. So it's definitely a disappointing feeling, but I don't think it's something that we can dwell on. It's not like just our hopes and dreams were crushed. Teams and athletes and people all over the world have kind of suffered and sacrificed with COVID-19 going on, things like that. So I think it's one of those things you just have to take with a grain of salt and, just work and come back next year or whenever the season begins again and be ready to go.
What have you been doing during this crazy pandemic? And it's funny because everybody I've talked to has had something different, whether something you're watching or activities that you might find to do when you're, confined to your home. What is Joshua Lammon been? See, you guys are so comfortable. I almost, exactly. What has Josh Lammon been doing during this pandemic to keep yourself busy and not lose your mind like some of us have here, stuck in my apartment for 2.5 months?
Right. I actually started doing some remote work for a consulting company. So that's been keeping me busy, which is good. I've been working with my old hockey coaches just on some various houses. It's mostly vacant houses, upgrading them and painting little side projects with him. So I've actually been working quite a bit, working out. And I guess a new hobby would be one of my buddies from college and I have started making music, like EDM music.
Really?
So just kind of getting into that. Yeah, it's kind of cool. We've always loved EDM dance music, and we just figured we had a lot of downtime. Why not try to learn it and make it ourselves?
Well, good for you. Hey, maybe we'll have to get the Allen Americans band up and rolling this coming year. It's funny because, everybody I've talked to has had a different story. Some were watching Tiger King, most recently The Last Dance with Michael Jordan. Did you get a chance to check any of that out?
Yeah, I haven't watched a lot of TV, but I have watched The Last Dance. I thought it was a phenomenal documentary. I personally didn't know a lot about Michael Jordan. Personally, his career, his life, what kind of led to his retirement, various natures like that. So it was really eye-opening, fascinating. I thought it was a great documentary.
Well, again, congratulations on an unbelievable rookie season. We sure hope to see you back in Allen, you and your buddy Les Lancaster, the other half of the Mercyhurst Connection. Thanks for always being willing to, and you were great, both you and Les last year, always willing to help out whenever needed, whether it was something in the community radio show. You guys are always the first to volunteer, and we can't tell you how much we appreciate that. one of the great guys out there in hockey. Enjoy. Hopefully it won't be a long off season. You know, it could be. You never know. If the NHL comes back in late December, January, what does that mean for the Allen Americans? Wait and see, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Thanks for having me, Tommy. It was a pleasure being an Allen this season. Good things to say.
Always a pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, number 15 in your program, the one and only Joshua Lammon.
Thanks, Tommy.